Welcome to Tabby Striped Cat, the ultimate tabby cat resource. If you love tabby cats and want to learn more about their patterns, colors, markings, and behavior, you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe, and visit tabbystripedcat.com for more tabby cat resources. Now let's discover exactly what kind of tabby cat you have. You got a tabby cat. Maybe you adopted one. Maybe one chose you. Either way, you look at that face, those stripes, those markings, that unmistakable forehead, and you think, what exactly am I looking at? Because here is something most people do not know. Tabby is not a breed. It is a coat pattern. And it comes in more varieties than most people realize. By the end of this video, you will be able to look at any tabby cat and know exactly what you are seeing. We are going to cover every tabby pattern: mackerel, classic, spotted, and ticked. We will explore the colors that go with them, including orange, brown, silver, blue, and cream. We will look at the markings every tabby shares, regardless of pattern, and follow a simple process that will help you identify exactly what kind of tabby cat you have. Whether your cat is a swirling classic tabby, a razor-striped mackerel, a striking spotted tabby, or a softly glowing ticked coat, there is a name for what you have. And once you know it, you will never look at your cat the same way again. But first, what makes a tabby a tabby? Before we can identify the different types of tabby cats, we need to understand what they all have in common. Every single tabby cat, regardless of color or pattern, shares 5 key markings. The first is the famous M on the forehead. That bold shape just above the eyes is one of the most recognizable markings in the animal world. Every tabby has it. The second is the eye lines. Dark lines extend from the outer corners of the eyes toward the ears, creating the appearance of natural eyeliner. Third are the necklaces. These are the dark bands that circle the throat and chest. Some cats have 2, some have 3, but they are almost always present. Fourth are the leg bars. Look closely at the legs and you will see dark horizontal bands crossing them, especially on the front legs. And fifth is the ringed tail. Dark bands wrap around the tail from base to tip, usually ending with a darker tail tip. Together, these 5 markings tell you that you are looking at a true tabby cat. Now let us move to the first pattern, and the one most people picture when they hear the word tabby. The mackerel tabby is the most common tabby pattern in the world. If you adopted a cat from a shelter, found a friendly stray, or welcomed a neighborhood cat into your life, there is a good chance it is a mackerel tabby. The name comes from the mackerel fish. Along the sides of the cat, narrow vertical stripes run from the spine down toward the belly, resembling the bones of a fish skeleton. The stripes are straight, parallel, and evenly spaced. Most mackerel tabbies also have a bold stripe running along the spine from neck to tail. Smaller stripes branch off from this darker line, creating a beautifully organized pattern. The body often appears lean and athletic because the stripes naturally emphasize length and movement. On the belly, many mackerel tabbies display rows of spots or broken stripes, while the leg bars tend to be especially crisp and well-defined. There is something remarkably ancient about this pattern. The mackerel tabby is considered the closest resemblance many domestic cats have to their wild ancestors. When you look at a mackerel tabby basking in sunlight, you are seeing a pattern that has endured for thousands of years. But what happens when those straight stripes transform into dramatic swirls and whorls? That brings us to the classic tabby. The classic tabby is one of the most visually striking patterns in the feline world. Instead of narrow vertical stripes, the classic tabby displays broad, flowing swirls that seem painted across the body. The most important feature is the bullseye, sometimes called the oyster. This large circular swirl appears on the cat's side and immediately identifies the classic tabby pattern. On the shoulders, many classic tabbies display what is known as the butterfly marking, a broad shape that spreads across the upper back like wings. These markings flow into the dramatic side swirls, creating a coat pattern that feels almost artistic. Because the markings are broad and bold, classic tabbies often appear larger and more substantial than their mackerel counterparts. When sunlight catches those swirls, the coat resembles polished marble or a beautifully layered marble cake. The classic tabby is also known as the blotched tabby, and both names describe the pattern perfectly. If your cat has bold swirls and a clear bullseye on the flank, you have identified a classic tabby. Now let us look at the spotted tabby, the pattern that often makes people stop and stare. Unlike the mackerel tabby's stripes or the classic tabby's swirls, the spotted tabby displays individual spots across the body. These spots may be round, oval, elongated, or even rosette-shaped. The effect often resembles a miniature wildcat. Some spotted tabbies have true, distinct spots. Others display broken stripes that have separated into dashes and ovals. Both are considered spotted tabbies, though the appearance can vary significantly. The reason this pattern feels so wild becomes obvious when you watch a spotted tabby move through dappled light. The spots break up the outline of the body, creating natural camouflage that echoes the patterns found in leopards, ocelots, servals, and other wild cats. The spotted tabby carries an ancient design that has been refined over millions of years. In many ways, it allows a domestic cat to wear a little piece of the wild. And then there is the ticked tabby, perhaps the most misunderstood tabby pattern of all. At first glance, a ticked tabby may not appear to be a tabby at all. There are no obvious stripes, no large swirls, and no spots covering the body. Instead, the coat appears smooth, warm, and softly glowing. The secret is hidden in the individual hairs. Each hair contains alternating bands of light and dark color, a phenomenon known as agouti ticking. When thousands of these hairs combine, they create a coat that seems to shimmer and change as the light moves across it. Even though the body appears mostly unmarked, the universal tabby signs remain. The forehead still displays the M. The legs still carry bars. The tail still shows rings. The ticked tabby is subtle. It rewards close observation rather than demanding attention. In sunlight, the coat glows with warm gold, copper, brown, and cream tones that seem woven together. The Abyssinian is perhaps the most famous example of the ticked tabby pattern, and it showcases just how beautiful this understated design can be. Now that you understand the 4 tabby patterns, let us talk about color. The first and most common color is the brown tabby. This is what many people imagine when they think of a traditional tabby cat. Rich brown background tones combine with darker brown or black markings to create a timeless appearance. The orange tabby may be the most beloved color variation of all. The coat ranges from pale ginger to deep copper, and the markings often stand out beautifully against the warm background. Most orange tabbies are male due to the genetics responsible for orange coloration. The silver tabby is among the most dramatic. Bright silver or white fur contrasts sharply with dark markings, creating a pattern that feels crisp, bold, and almost architectural. The blue tabby is much softer. In cat genetics, blue refers to a diluted gray with subtle blue undertones. The result is elegant, understated, and quietly beautiful. The cream tabby is a diluted version of the orange tabby. Soft cream tones and pale buff markings create a gentle appearance that can be difficult to see under certain lighting conditions. Then there is the torby, short for tortoiseshell tabby. Torbies combine tabby striping with tortoiseshell color patches. Orange, black, brown, and tabby markings all appear together in one coat. Nearly all torbies are female, and no two look exactly alike. Now let us identify your cat. Start with the forehead. If you see the M, you have confirmed you are looking at a tabby. Next, examine the sides of the body. If you see narrow vertical stripes running from the spine toward the belly, you have a mackerel tabby. If you see broad swirls, whorls, and a bullseye pattern, you have a classic tabby. If you see individual spots instead of stripes or swirls, you have a spotted tabby. And if the body appears mostly solid while the forehead, legs, and tail still show tabby markings, you have a ticked tabby. Once you identify the pattern, simply note the color. Brown, orange, silver, blue, cream, or torby. Combine the pattern and color together, and you have a complete description of your cat. Wow, you've learned a lot so far. If you've made it this far in the video, you're already ahead of most cat owners when it comes to understanding tabby cats. You now know that tabby isn't a breed, you've learned the major tabby patterns, and you've discovered how colors and patterns work together to create the incredible variety we see in tabby cats. So before we move on, let's have a little fun and see how much you've picked up. Don't worry, this isn't a test. Think of it as a quick field guide challenge. Take a close look at the next cat and see if you can identify its pattern. If you answered Mackerel Tabby, congratulations, you got it right. This cat displays the classic Mackerel Tabby pattern, which is recognized by the narrow, vertical stripes running down the sides of the body. Many people describe these markings as looking like fish bones, which is actually where the name, mackerel, comes from. You'll also notice the stripes are mostly parallel and evenly spaced, rather than forming large swirls or separate spots. Those distinctive stripes are one of the easiest ways to identify a mackerel tabby once you know what to look for. And here's a fun fact. The mackerel tabby is the most common tabby pattern found around the world. So if you identified this cat correctly, you're already developing the same observation skills that cat breeders, judges, and experienced tabby enthusiasts use when identifying coat patterns. Now let's move on to our next challenge and see if you can spot another type of tabby pattern. Quiz time. Can you identify this tabby pattern? Take a close look at this cat before choosing your answer. A. Mackerel tabby. B. Classic tabby. C. Spotted tabby. D. Ticked tabby. Here's a hint. Focus on the markings along the cat's sides. Are they narrow stripes running vertically down the body? Or do they form large swirling patterns? Take a moment to make your choice. We'll reveal the answer in just a second. If you answered Classic Tabby, congratulations, you got it right. This cat displays the classic tabby pattern, one of the most recognizable tabby patterns in the world. Notice the large swirling markings on the sides of the body. Many people describe these as bullseyes, marble patterns, or swirls. Unlike the narrow vertical stripes of a mackerel tabby, classic tabbies have broad, flowing patterns that curve and loop across the body. You may also notice a distinctive butterfly-shaped marking across the shoulders. Combined with those bold side swirls, it's one of the easiest ways to identify a classic tabby once you know what you're looking for. If you identified this cat correctly, give yourself a pat on the back. You're developing some impressive tabby identification skills. And here's something many cat owners don't realize. Tabby isn't a breed. It's a coat pattern. In fact, tabby markings can be found in many different cat breeds all over the world. So now that you know how to identify tabby patterns, let's take the next step and explore some of the most popular cat breeds that can wear those beautiful tabby markings. The tabby pattern appears in many of the world's most beloved cat breeds. The Maine Coon is one of the most impressive examples. These giant cats often wear mackerel or classic tabby patterns that flow beautifully through their long, luxurious coats. The rings on the tail, the forehead M, and the dramatic body markings create a truly majestic appearance. The Abyssinian showcases the ticked tabby pattern at its finest. Its warm agouti coat glows in natural light, revealing the extraordinary beauty hidden within each individual hair. The Bengal takes the spotted tabby pattern to another level. With dramatic spots and rosettes inspired by wild cat ancestry, Bengals often resemble miniature leopards living comfortably in the home. The American Shorthair is perhaps the most iconic tabby breed in North America. Silver classic tabbies, in particular, have become one of the most recognizable cat images in the world. The British Shorthair brings tabby markings to a dense, plush coat and an unmistakably round face. Blue tabbies, silver tabbies, and brown tabbies all look exceptional on this breed. And then there is the domestic Shorthair tabby. No pedigree, no breed standard, just millions of beloved cats carrying the same ancient markings found in their purebred cousins. Whether your tabby comes from a championship bloodline or a local shelter, the story written on its coat remains the same. And that brings us back to your cat. You started this video with a tabby cat. Maybe you already knew a little about tabbies. Maybe you simply knew you loved yours. But now you understand what those markings mean. You know the difference between mackerel and classic, between spotted and ticked. You understand the colors, the patterns, the shared markings, and the history behind them. Every stripe, swirl, spot, and band has a purpose. Every pattern tells a story that stretches back through thousands of years of feline history. From wild ancestors to modern homes, the tabby pattern has endured because it is one of nature's most remarkable designs. The next time your cat stretches out in a sunbeam, take a closer look. Notice the forehead M follow the leg bars. Count the rings on the tail. Study the stripes, the swirls, the spots, or the softly glowing ticked coat. You know what they mean now. And once you know how to read a tabby coat, you begin to see your cat differently. Not just as a pet, but as a living piece of natural history. If you enjoyed this guide and want to continue exploring the fascinating world of tabby cats, subscribe to Tabby Striped Cat, the ultimate tabby cat resource. We have many more field guide style videos coming soon covering tabby patterns, colors, genetics, breeds, behavior, and everything that makes these remarkable cats so fascinating. Thank you for watching, and give your tabby cat an extra look of appreciation today. They have been carrying an incredible story on their coat all along.